Good morning and welcome to a video that I hope that you'll find helpful. One of the things that I've started to do that has ended up being extremely helpful in my video production side of things in general, because I'm doing multicam switching for podcasts that were captured remotely. I want to give it a refined edge to it. And one of the things that ends up happening if I don't have some type of framework for that is that I end up with some really jaggedy looking clips. And so what I've ended up finding was a guy on YouTube that actually I had the recommendation of some titles that he created, some title templates that he created. Leno FX, LENO FX, and he created some title templates, but he has a large library of all sorts of templates actually for Final Cut and other platforms, but he has these grids, and I'm using a very simple two person grid here, but he has all sorts of different ones that you can see right here. Some of them are much more complicated, designed for like promotional material and things like that. But you can see that you can have 1, 2, 3, four people, a four-way grid, all that type of stuff. And the way that these work is both simple and a little specific. So I figured I would go through the process of actually recreating some of these real quickly to let you see what I go through to create one of these. So you'll see this is actually a finished product. I've already created everything. I actually exported this project last night and uploaded it for use today and whatnot. So, but we're going to recreate my dual what I call my combo view. And you'll actually see here there's combo 1 and combo 2. We'll do 3 and 4 as if these were new takes. Now, you'll notice for sync purposes, I am going to go to the combo audio down here as well. But all I'm doing is using that combo audio, which just for explanation, this combo audio is the raw internet backup that I get from Riverside. And I'm only using it to give Final Cut sync information that will be able to be used to get my host and his guest lined up as far as the conversation goes at the very beginning. We'll probably see that they'll be roughly okay. So I'm going to do a multicam. I'm going to call it combo 3. And again, this multicam is just to be able to get the two different frames, the two different shots in sync with each other. And then I'll show you the next step here in a minute. It's going through, it's synchronizing those angles. Generally speaking, as you can see, doesn't take very long. So I'm going to come up here to combo 3. We'll look at our timeline up here. And you'll see we've got our combo audio, host, guest, and if I activate audio on all 3 of these, we should find that
they showed up differently. You know, you said something about
almost in sync, but that internet backup is not.
They're just going to sit out and spend.
Is not adjusted to make sure that it's in sync with these constant frame rate audio. So again, I'm using it as a point of reference just to pull or to get these two two halves of the same conversation roughly in sync with each other as far as the interaction between host and guest. So that's really what it was there for. As you can see, I've just removed it. I don't need it any longer. So I've got my two angles. I've got my and they both have audio. I'm not going to actually end up using the audio from these, but they both have audio. That's important when we end up pulling this in to the main multicam, because that's my final view of this. So combo 3 is ready and prepped. I'm going to go ahead and come up here to my into my media bin here, and I'm going to make a new compound clip, and we're going to call that combo 4. And we'll open up combo 4, and all you'll see is this one multicam. I'm going to hold down Option, and I'm going to drag this down. That's going to duplicate my multicam, and I'm going to make sure that I'm lined up all the way at the front, which I am. And I'm going to set my video angle for 1 to my host. I'm also going to set my audio angle to my host there. And now I have 2 tracks that are, one is my host, one is my guest. I'm going to go all the way to the very first frame, all the way to the beginning. You'll see why here in just a minute. I'm going to go to my grids. I'm going to grab my half and half, and actually, let's do the top and bottom just for fun. I'm going to change the duration of this while I'm at it to match the overall length of the main clip. And then we're going to set our initial frames. So these grids use drop zones. And these are really great ways for you to give points of reference of here's where you're starting from, or here's the static image that you're going to use, whatever that might be. So these presets are going to use drop zones. So I'm going to come on here, and I'm going to click on the first frame of my host for that one, and I'm going to click on the first frame of the guest for the second one. So first and second are set. I'm going to apply that. Now we can't see what that is because it's dark video there. But now that I'm here, we can see that I have my host in a very weird aspect ratio on top and my guest on the bottom. Now I'm going to go ahead and reduce the scale here a bit and pull it down visually. And what I do like about this, you'll actually notice on the left and the right, it fills in this gap. It fills in this gap on the left and right so that we can, so that it looks uniform. So even if I had the frame kind of set up like this, it would still look okay. I'm filling it in, in this case, just for the sake of it. And you can see I have an XY axis just above it to where I can kind of work on centering. I'm going to do the same with the guest, get them down to where they fill the whole screen, and then up and down. This isn't the aspect ratio that I would normally go for. This isn't the look that I would normally go for. If this content was shot differently or was actually different in general, this is absolutely how I do it. You can see that you can. This gray that I was talking about is an overlay, and it just gives it a nice look. Now, if you wanted to, I don't like this personally, but if you wanted it to have kind of a rounded edge to it, you can turn on the roundness thing, kind of give it a rounded edge over the frame. Then you can actually build in and build out, meaning it will kind of like drop these in as you go for the purposes of what I'm doing, since it's the entire podcast and I'm using it as an angle in my multi-cam view, I don't really want that. So I turn that off normally. And yeah, we can do the fade in, fade out, turn that off as well. I don't really worry about it too much. And again, with the things that I need. Once again, I'll just call us out here real quickly because he's got a lot of really great stuff, and he also has some really great tutorials that I've learned a lot from. At lenofx.com, you can see the attribution there at the bottom of this. And this, what we're using here is the grids. So that's the basic process of how I use grids in creating a side-by-side angle for my projects. And now we have this combo grid that you can see that's there. Now, what I would do to create my final view is I would take my originals again. I would take my combo. In this case, I have a second camera on my host, and so I would use that. And so I would have 4 angles that I would select, and I would create another multicam. We'll call this multi 71.2. And that's going to sync up all 4 views now. My combo shot, my 2 solo shots, and my final or my side view that I have. And if we look at multi 71, we have guest solo, combo, side view, and solo host. That's it. That's all there is to it.